This episode of Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis is brought to you by the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame and Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart, Indiana. I am Tim O'Malley, joined by Tim Priester of Irish Illustrated, John Bryce of Football Scoop, and we are not yet on site at Miami Gardens Hard Rock Stadium because we believe that rain would have interrupted our pregame instant analysis. And this way it will go up a little easier logistically, much safer. And guys, I don't want to alarm too many people. It looks like rain in the pregame forecast, maybe not in the during the contest forecast, but we only deal with what we can deal with, and our camera didn't like rain.
Marcus Freeman called it on Friday, said it would clear up by the game. So we'll see if he's correct. But like I said, I think his meteorologists are better than our meteorologists.
It's a steamy one regardless, guys. So if the rain rolls in as we sit here and record this Sunday afternoon, the feels like here in the Miami area is 105 degrees at around 2 o'clock. So add some rain to that, and there will be steam, and we'll find out in a hurry how the conditioning is for both squads.
And before we get to football, JB, I don't know if I talked to you about this, but Priest and I have already exchanged texts. Short sleeves may be worn since we're not doing a pregame instant analysis as well. We're not gonna the sport coat. I had my Crockett sport coat back there too for this trip, but I don't think I'm pulling it out. So
That's staying in the closet here for today.
I didn't even bring short sleeves. So
there you go. All right.
law and order every time.
Always styling. So I let off who and what to watch today because we've talked about this game quite a bit now for the last few months. But I really think that special teams are going to play a key role, and I mean that in a positive way for Notre Dame. Assuming Noah Burnett holds up his end of the bargain, and if you're 2 for 3 on field goals from 45 range, that's holding up your end of the bargain in a big game. I really think Marty Biaggi, the way he ended the season and being empowered by Marcus Freeman, I think special teams is an advantage here, Tim.
Oh, I absolutely do. I mean, that's something I've been harping on since I started looking at this matchup. And during the first rate series this summer, I realize it's last year, but things carry over. And I think Notre Dame team has one of the best carryovers in the country, i.e. Ohio State yesterday. Miami was very poor on special teams last year, and they lost their all-time leading scorer at kicker. Miami was one of 4 teams that gave up at least 2 kick returns for touchdowns. I don't know that you repair those things overnight. Notre Dame has a distinct advantage, in special teams. Now, Noah Burnett does have to uphold his end of the bargain here. Bert Auburn is the Miami kicker transferred from Texas after having a very poor game against Arizona State that they were able to survive. So, yeah, I like Notre Dame on special teams. Generally when we evaluate these games, we're looking at quarterback matchups, which I see on paper is, from an experience standpoint, is certainly not in Notre Dame's favor. I just don't think CJ Carr is going to play as poorly as some of the first-time starters at quarterback yesterday.
I think to the special teams point, it's a very good one. They need Burnett to just be steady, but I do think they have real potential difference makers with a healthy Jordan Faison having won the punt returner job, and then the ability to deploy Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price at the same time. And then I know the Jersey scrimmage, and in talking with people, and that was 2 weeks ago today, that Rendell had a nice day booming punts in the stadium. And so you feel really good about the chance to change the game with either your punt or kick return, and you feel like Rendell is poised to build off of what he did the back half of the 24 season. Really, the question mark there is Burnett and how they fare on place kicking in terms of first time starting QBs. TP, I think that's a good point. I think, as we've noted, Notre Dame has a lot of great assets to put around CJ Carr, most notably the single best running back in college football and probably a top 3 to top 5 offensive line in college football.
I think brings up, no matter how well you're playing, there is a money down here. And I'm so curious to see how 3rd and 2 is approached, because it used to be, well, if you really want to get it, you just have Riley Leonard run twice and you're guaranteed to get a first down.
Yeah.
Will they take shots? I was asking for a shot that entire Ohio State game on 4th down, Notre Dame Ohio State game, I mean, on 4th down, because I felt like sometimes moving the chains isn't enough. If you're a little bit of an underdog, now Notre Dame's not a little bit of an underdog here, but sometimes getting a strike against, look, we like Heatherman is going to make a difference, but it's game number 1. It's not as easy. We even talked about this with Mike Elko last year. It's game number 1. Not everything is going to be installed and perfectly repped for a new defensive coordinator. I feel like Notre Dame could take advantage of some things here,
I,
taking shots on in running downs.
I feel like, you know, Chris Ash arriving at Notre Dame has been more critically analyzed than Corey Heatherman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, part of it is because he's been out of the game, but I'll respond by referring to my Urban Meyer interview from a couple of weeks ago when he talked about nobody communicates better than this guy. He absolutely endorsed him, and he wasn't going to do the interview just to be a glad hander. He truly believes in Chris Ash. My greatest question, and I don't, maybe you guys have a better gauge on this than me. My greatest question with CJ Carr is his mobility under a pass rush. I mean, he's not Carson Beck. He's more agile than that. But we really haven't seen how CJ Carr reacts to, that kind of pressure when the pocket collapses. Messidor and Bain, if Notre Dame's tackles aren't really completely sharp, those guys could be in the backfield. How will CJ Carr react to that? I want to see that in live competition because we just haven't seen it.
Tim, are you in a different wing? Because I have an incredible rainstorm going, and it looks like you have a beautiful backyard here at our same
I'm
hotel. So
surprised you.
I'm not
I'm
sure what's
surprised
going
you.
on.
I'm outside. I'm surprised you can't hear it. Jack,
Okay,
you
no,
can't hear
no,
this?
it is. It's coming down right here, so we made the
Incredible.
right choice.
Outside, it's much louder. I'm glad our listeners can't hear it.
Didn't mean to interrupt, JB.
It's pouring.
No, no, not at all. A good point, TP, on Carr. To me, we know that Miami is going to try to pressure him. Heatherman likes that. They're especially going to try to make not just a first-time starter, but really a first-time game appearance player in CJ Carr feel the pressure early. To me, it's not even can he avoid a sack, but can he avoid catastrophe when he is sacked, and he can't turn the ball over. And all indications are he's done a nice job of avoiding catastrophes in those situations. Frankly, we heard it in the spring. It's why Steve Angeli ultimately transferred out, is because he was taking way too many sacks and they were becoming disastrous moments over the course of spring camp. And we saw Steve Angeli sacked 4 to 5 times yesterday as Tennessee outclassed Syracuse. And so to me, again, it's making the good decisions and minimizing the bad when he does inevitably get put under some duress.
Yeah, the offensive line will be on the spot, but of course, this honestly, I feel like I know that Jadarian Price received plaudits for his improvement in pass protection in short yardage situations. If you have a healthy Jeremiah Love and a healthy Aeneas Williams in game number one, I feel like those are the guys that are still going to be trusted to protect CJ Carr because that's where blitz pickup comes in. Jeremiah Love can rest and blitz pickup some other day, not these first couple games. I think they need him back there.
They do, and I just don't think Miami puts as many difference makers on the field today as Notre Dame does. I could be completely wrong. I could be like the Alabama media yesterday. I could be like the Clemson media yesterday, thinking that they're going to win those football games, and I could be completely wrong. But I feel like, you mentioned Jeremiah Love. That's an asset that the other team does not have. They don't have an asset like that. I feel like a lot of people are putting Miami on Notre Dame's plane, and I don't think that they're there yet. Now, I could be proven wrong. A turnover, like you said, JB, if he coughs it up under the pass rush, Notre Dame's going to put Chris Ash is going to put a little bit of pressure on Carson Beck. And we haven't seen CJ Carr's mobility yet, but I guarantee you it's better than Carson Beck's.
Yeah.
So I hope I'm not, I don't believe in jinxes, but I think Notre Dame is the better team here on a lot of levels. And the matchup at quarterback, no, it doesn't favor Notre Dame in terms of experience. The rest of the team around CJ Carr is the better of the rest of Miami's team around Carson Beck.
I feel like we collectively try very hard to be knowledgeable in our jobs and to have a good idea of what's going on. I bring that up to say I'll defer every time to Nick Saban. And I don't know if you guys caught it yesterday, but Nick Saban on ESPN Game Day not only picked Notre Dame, but he picked Notre Dame because he said they're a more complete team with a more complete roster, a Notre Dame team. Nick Saban said he expects to be one of the top 4 teams in college football as this season plays out.
There is one more spot that we don't think is a weakness, but we don't think it's a strength in terms of Jeremiah Love or linebackers or the offensive line, and that is Notre Dame's defensive interior. We like the defensive ends. Defensive interior has been talked up by Marcus Freeman. We all believe it's better than we thought it would be in the spring, is the fairest way of saying it. We didn't see enough August camp to say it's better than we thought it would be in August camp, but we've been told that. I'm really interested to see the rotation because 105 feels like 105 right now. It might not feel like 105 later, but it's not going to be pleasant. And you may have to go your 5 and 6 deep at defensive tackle, at least 5 deep, where you trust Elijah Hughes since he was mentioned by Marcus Freeman.
I tell you what, sitting outside here, the humidity has dropped. The humidity's coming down in form of rain, but the humidity has dropped. Yeah, I mean, it's still, if Marcus Freeman had said what he said about the defensive tackles, we'd still be really bemoaning that. I think we know Freeman well enough after 4 years. Would he just say that if he didn't believe it? I don't.
Probably not to the extent he used it.
Exactly, exactly. I don't believe that. Now, on the flip side, we saw an LSU defense last night that was really good, that's supplemented by transfers. Florida State's defense supplemented by transfers. Certainly Miami's has been as well, especially in the secondary. But I realize the secondaries don't match up with each other. But which secondary do you trust? The one that has chemistry and cohesion built, over the last 3 years under Marcus Freeman, or one that has a bunch of transplants that we know how difficult it is to gain chemistry in the secondary. So I don't want to, I'm overplaying this now. I believe strongly Notre Dame's going to win tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if you're overplaying it. I would say that I mean Notre Dame's gonna have a better secondary than Miami is all year long, not just in this game. But I was looking back, and obviously USC had its moments against Notre Dame. You have to point out, of course, 2 interception touchdowns means they won the day. But USC had its moments against Notre Dame and Christian Gray. Obviously, Ohio State, those receivers aren't going to be here. So you kind of go back to who else got them. I mean, Louisville had a good day
Yeah.
against Leonard Moore playing in a different position with Christian Gray, with Benjamin Morrison in the game too. So it was actually Moore and Morrison. Carson Beck is arguably the best pure passer of this group. He doesn't have the Ohio State receivers, but Carson Beck would have been great on Ohio State last year too. So there is a challenge coming up here for Notre Dame secondary. I think they'll rise to it, but it's not like you're playing Georgia Tech's backup quarterback again. You're actually in a situation here, JB, where they really have to show up in the secondary.
They do. They have to show up in the secondary because, as you note, USC had some moments last year, and Jaden Mayava was incredibly inexperienced at that point in time and still had those moments. Carson Beck is among the most experienced quarterbacks in college football. Now, he can make the big throws. He can also has proven he'll give the ball away. And I think that we'll see Notre Dame continue to try and impact him in a hurry. He's not played a down of football since the opening weekend of December 2024. I know he's been at Miami now for 9 months, and we've heard great things about his progress and how he's evolved and that he's fully healthy and he's developed, but he still hasn't been hit in a real football game since the first weekend of December. I think that's significant. And then just with talking with people as this week has unfolded, and I think all of us kind of expected, okay, they'll get some Boubacar Traore snaps early in the season, but he's going to be coming along. And look, he's not going to play 60 snaps, but they're not going out there with a pitch count mindset for Boubacar Traore. I'm told emphatically near the end of this week that one of the singular players of Notre Dame's preseason camp was Boubacar Traore. I think this is a game, especially with Beck's absence of mobility, that Traore can be an absolute difference maker for the Irish.
Tim, before we get out of here, I want to get your guys' thoughts because subscribers always want to know this. Third down, who's CJ Carr looking for most? Red zone, who's CJ Carr looking for most? What wide receivers or tight end? Of course, do you expect to kind of rise to the fore here?
The big guys, Fields and Greathouse. I think those are your safest targets, especially Fields. I've watched so much film of him, his size, the size of his hands, the strength, the positioning. He knows how to play position football, boxing guys out. I think he's first and foremost, but Greathouse and Eli Raritan too. I mean, I think if you're talking about third downs, those are your most reliable. Oh yeah, you can also get the ball in the hands of Jeremiah Love too. That would probably work out pretty well also.
I think with the camp Will Pauling had, dark horse to lead the team in receptions in game number one could be Will Pauling. I still feel like Jaden Greathouse as he evolves over the course of the season, like he did last year. He was way behind. Made a joke he had to go crazy in the playoffs. I didn't think he was going to make that prediction come true, but boy, he went crazy in the playoffs and started catching balls. JB, anybody else to add to that group?
No, I like the Eli Raridan mention and think that there's a reason Will Pauling has been named a captain and he's earned it. And I think that there's a lot of comfort there. Will Pauling has played a lot of ball in addition to Malachi Fields, and I think he's a very savvy route runner. Malachi Fields presents you some box out options, but I think Will Pauling understands the nuances of being able to sit down and find the sticks and be exactly where CJ Carr needs him to be.
We will be at Hard Rock Stadium and within 3 hours for sure, and hopefully down on the field a little bit to give some people who are looking for the vibe. They want no negative vibes like the Tim Priester vibe and the from Michigan 2019 and mine in Miami 2017. And actually, JB, you had the positive vibes in Georgia. Maybe you should be the only one going down. See if there's a positive vibe down there.
We'll see. But I
Yes.
think there's the Notre Dame camp seems to have positive vibes as this week draws to its end and we play this game tonight.
For Tim Priester of Irish Illustrated, John Bryce of Football Scoop, I'm Tim O'Malley. This has been Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis pregame, brought to you by the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame and Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart, Indiana.